welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2021 season, as we look ahead to this week's round 24 clash against the Leeds Rhinos in the final regular season home game at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Kev, nice of you to join me up in the moors. The weather's been nice down here. Are you suitably recovered from the magic weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I was still had a bit of fume, to be honest. The day after the Sunday, just how we threw that away. And I think Christian Wolf alluded to it. He said that we lost that game rather than the other way around. I can't disagree with that. But yeah, I think I'm suitably recovered.
Yeah, we may lose battles, but hopefully we will win the war come the end of the season. I'm still not as disappointed as maybe we should be. I don't know. Is it if that game had just been a normal regular season game at the Totally Wicked Stadium, probably a lot wouldn't have been made of it. Maybe because of the staging it was on, being at St James, being Magic Weekend. Maybe people look at it maybe as a bigger game than it actually was, when essentially it was just a league game, even though obviously there was things on the line.
Yeah, I think, again, I said it last week in the preview that the League Leaders Shield isn't seen as a big deal. I think you've just confirmed that, because you're saying it wasn't a big deal. The game wasn't a big deal. League Leaders Shield was still on the line. That's not me knocking you. That's just the state of play with trophies in this league. That there's two that matter, and them two are the grand final and the Challenge Cup, aren't they? That's all they're interested in.
And I don't think we're being harsh on that, Kev, are we? Because I think if you go back and watch some of our videos from when we won the League Leaders Shield, I don't think we said anything different then, even when we won it. So it's not a case of sour grapes. I think there was I seen a nice stat the last couple of days. I think it was 7 out of the last 10 League Leaders Shield winners have not gone on to win the grand final.
Well, that stands us in not bad stead, doesn't it? But
two of the teams who have finished top and won it was us.
Oh, fair enough.
And the other one was Leeds.
Listen, I'd rather win everything. I'd rather win the treble. I'd rather make a big deal of it. But it is what it is, and I'll stick with. It's a shame that it's not more of a deal, but it isn't at the minute. And until it is afforded a similar luxury of being seen as one of the big three instead of a poor relation of the other two, unfortunately, this is how it's always going to be, isn't it?
What did you make of Magic Weekend itself? Forget the games, and it's probably a show that we can do on its own. I still feel Magic in Newcastle is the right place for it to be. I think it needs a better weekend a little bit earlier in the season. I did see some people saying, well, some of the games meant more because of where it was at the end of the season. Maybe, obviously, Saints, Catalan, Leeds, Hull. But there was also a number of dead rubbers as well. So for me, a little bit earlier in the year, make it easier for people to plan for. And I think there needs to be a little bit less laziness involved in terms of promotion, selling tickets. The fan zone, which we alluded to, basically consisted of some teacups and a bit of scaffolding with a man stood with a microphone telling everybody to wave more for the cameras. I think I've seen better entertainment in Church Square outside with the fun fair on a Wednesday afternoon in the summer holidays than what was offered by the RFL or Super League, as the case may be.
Yeah, it didn't look good. That's it. Listen, Magic Weekend, I do enjoy it. I'd like to know what it's for now. Is it just for a booze up, or is there a strategic plan there? You're right when it comes to the games meaning something. I've seen in the past people have said it should be around of the Challenge Cup. We should have it on certain dates. We should make sure games mean something.
Make the points worth double.
No, let's not go into this. Isn't America? Let's not go into.
It's already. Listen, it's already on a neutral venue. It's already an extra game.
Not interested.
Don McCormick said similar. The last days of KR on Twitter, we retweeted some of the stuff this afternoon, didn't he? And I think he was asking, the same questions you were, Kev, about what it's for now. And for me, the original intention was probably to expand the game. I think now it's just a way of the RFL trying to make some sort of profit, or Super League making a profit.
Yeah, it possibly is. That's it. If you're gonna, you're on about like moving it and when it should be played. I think if you turn around and say it should be a round of the Challenge Cup, or it could be a round of the playoffs, or anything like that, unfortunately, you can't do that because there's no strategy there. You can't turn around and say to who's like Wigan, Leeds, Cass, whoever's Hull battling for the last three places of the in Super League with 2 weeks to go. You can't turn around to them and say, buy your tickets now, you might be there. It doesn't work like that. I wonder if going back to the start of the season works. So you spread out. So you've got something big to start the season, something big to end the season, and in the middle you've got the Challenge Cup, and they don't tread on each other's toes. Valid point that in February people might not want to go up to Newcastle, but when we played in Cardiff, and again I get the fact that it was a little bit more of a novelty, but when you go to Cardiff, we had 60,000. I think it was 2011. I think so. Listen, it is doable as long as you market it right. Give people the opportunity to get the tickets and know that their game means something. Because who doesn't want to start the season on a high? You do, don't you? I see a lot of talk about nines. I'm not really interested in nines. That's just a personal point of view. I'm not like I'm saying this. I'm not like a Test cricket and nothing else type of person. So there should only be one format. But if you have a nines thing, you're not going to have it in the middle of the season, because you imagine Saints aren't going to release the likes of Lachlan Coote and Regan Grace, Tommy Makinson, Alex Walmsley and the likes for a game that doesn't mean anything. Unless you turn around and say there's £3 million in prize money or something like that, pays your salary cap and more, what's the point in winning it?
Nines is one of those ideas that people have just because it's not happened. Let's do it. It's like people called for years for the County of Origin game to come back, the Lancashire Yorkshire game, or England versus the Exiles, and then when it actually happens, it's not really well supported. So yeah.
Well, have you seen the rugby union thing that they want to do? 12s. I mean,
that's just like Saints with Bentley and the sin bin.
That is a worry. That is a genuine worry that if they can offer big bucks doing that and a 12s, yeah, there's slightly different rules in rugby union. Obviously, there's not the tackles and all that, but you get a good back. Why are they not going to go over there and earn more money playing that? That is a worry. It's got to be a worry, and the RFL and Super League and whoever have got to take it seriously.
Maybe that's the first step in the game's merging.
The hybrid code, possibly.
Yeah. Last point on the Magic Weekend, I would like to see it as a properly designated and done properly retro round. Every team who plays the Magic Weekend plays in their best ever kit as chosen by their fan base in a replica of it. So you'd have maybe Wigan in the 1985 kit, a replica of that. You'd have Saints in the 97 away kit, blue and black. McEwen's lager, that's right, I haven't been. But you know what I mean? And build it up that way.
Listen, there's a lot of things you could do, because I know it's almost like a designated charity round. I think it was James Gordon on Twitter said, we've gone to that, we're on a big stage, and the Saints kit was lovely this year. It was probably the best of the 3 shirts we brought out. But it doesn't scream white with a red V. Now, I know you can't always do that, because if Catalan were the home team and they decided to wear their white shirt, we can't do that. But yeah, listen, I don't mind the charity aspect. I think it's brilliant. I think the amount of money that Saints make and the kind of the stuff Saints do around the autism group is fantastic. Could they do that as a more standalone game where you've got everybody in your stadium pushing towards it, and you've got 10,000 in the Totally Wicked or 15,000 in the Totally Wicked, all pushing towards that bucket collection stuff like that? Possibly. But at the minute, that's the biggest stage, and that's the one that people sell shirts for. I don't mind Saints bringing 3 or 4 shirts out in a year. because you're not forced to buy them. And I know people will say, but the kids want them. You know what? No, just easy for me to say. Just teach them the word no.
Tell you, I'm married to a teacher. We've lost the game, and when we lose a game, the team get abused on social media, but not us. We get fan mail, Kev.
We do get fan mail, don't we? Yeah.
So I think we should start off with the fan mail. Good old Fender Sunburst. I think he was referring to when I was talking about potentially. Do you know what? We made the tackle with 79:54 on the clock, and we allowed to play the ball 4 seconds later. That cost us the game. But he cannot believe what that Scouser in the middle said, that Saints should have cheated at the end. This is not football, and we don't want cheating in our game. I would advise you to stick to football, son, as you know nothing about our game. Thumbs down. I've seen a fair amount of cheating in rugby league this season, to be fair. I don't think it's unique to any one sport. So fair enough. Do you know what? You can take comments like that, Kev. At least they're not picking on you.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. We're back. So because other teams cheat, that means Saints should do the same? I don't think so. That is football mentality. That has no place in our game. You need to go and watch the sport you grew up with, son, which is football. We have a Scouser, a Scot, and a guy from Burnley who has the crazy notion that it was the best result for Saints, which is just crazy. Go and comment on your Facebook, boys, which is football.
Right. So not only is he condescending by keep on calling you son.
36.
Was the lad who supports Castleford from Burnley? I don't know where he gets this ridiculous notion that I'm from Burnley. I don't get it at all. I genuinely don't get where he gets this notion that I'm from Burnley. This accent is not a Burnley accent. In fact, if I speak to my Burnley mates, they call me a Scouser, despite me not sounding like you. But I don't get it. My first sport isn't football. My first sport is rugby league. You know that full well. But I don't get this. Mind you, actually, I do. I've seen the videos that Fender Sunburst, the channels that he actually subscribes to, and there's a lot of them that the Scouser Scott and guy from Burnley. What's the problem with us supporting Saints? We've got a Scot, we've got a guy from Burnley who I don't know where he gets this idea that I'm from Burnley, because I'm from Haydock. Lived in Haydock all my life until I moved to Widnes. I mean, you went to school in Blackbrook.
I was going to say I went to Blackbrook Juniors and St Augustine's.
From Laffolk.
Hotbed of rugby league. Do you know who we should have stopped at the border playing for Saints? Because it really dragged us down. James Graham. What's he ever done for St Helens?
Exactly.
A dad from Cumbria. He's from McGull. Never mind.
Yeah, well.
But he's been watching rugby league long before us. And if we cannot respect another person's view, then that is very sad. Hang on a minute. Aren't we the ones being abused? Yeah. I was born and bred in St Helens, unlike you and the other two stooges that make crazy statements every week. So you're one. Is Peter Elder the other?
Yeah, it must be.
So I do have quite a bit of knowledge of the game and the club. This channel is a joke, hosted by uneducated. I've got a degree and I'm doing master's level stuff. I just play the fool. This channel is a joke, hosted by uneducated, out of towners. ... Unsubscribed. This is like the Paddy Power advert, isn't it? When they do the
when you do mean tweets.
Mean tweets. Anyway, I think we'll finish on a nice one.
Go on.
He's all right, that Dave. He's a bit cocky, but you're all right, you Dave. And that's from a Wire fan. And I wouldn't call it cheating. Playing the clock, just smart game sense. Kevin, you're the type of Wire fan that I like.
Yes. Oh, well. Unbelievable.
We should do mean tweets every week.
We probably could do them every week. We should save them to the end of the season and put them out.
But yes, the family's from Liverpool. I work in Liverpool, but guess what? I live in St. Helens.
Yeah.
Been going to Saints
That's
for
one thing. That's one thing you
25
can't
years.
even level it. You can't even level that against me. I've moved out. I live in Cheshire now.
You are an
I
out
live
of
in
town.
Cheshire. I am. I live out of town.
Go and support the community club, Kev.
Yes.
But yeah,
Absolutely rubbish.
if I've been watching Saints since the age of 11 and going since the age of 11, I think I'm all right having a chat about it. And you know what?
Yeah.
We're not claiming to be experts. We're claiming to be fans doing a fan channel.
Yeah.
If you don't agree, you don't agree. Fair enough.
He could start one, but if you do actually look at the videos that he subscribes to, he might be too busy doing a couple of exercises.
Do they work?
I've no idea. We'll have to reply to him and ask.
Not that we need it.
No.
Right then.
Let's do this properly. A-Star's back.
Get the A-Star right in, Kev. You've let them down the first couple of minutes.
I know. Here we go. Listen, I'm sure A-Star will absolutely be on our side and be laughing about it anyway. So never mind. Never mind. Anyway, squad news. Bentley, Parsi, and Louis out. Obviously, Louis missed weekend and Bentley went off at half time. And Parsi got banned for that challenge, which I have seen back now. And I kind of get why Saints haven't challenged it. Wolf said on Saints TV that it's a little bit out of respect for the injury that happened and a little bit because the footage was that inconclusive that it wouldn't have been worth it, and it might have ended up with him getting another game ban.
And that's the thing. And somebody did send us like the slow-mo of it. From that image that we've seen, it doesn't show very much.
Exactly.
He looks like he's hitting him dead on. And I think that's why Sky didn't show a replay on the night, because I don't think they had a good enough picture from any angle to put one up. And I think that's why they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
I can't say one way or the other how bad it was. Obviously, it's caused injury to the player, and the main thing is that he is all right. Parsi apologised instantly on the field, which makes you think that maybe he felt he was to blame. So, yeah, you take it on the chin and you rest him up for the playoffs with that 2-game ban, and it is what it is. Shocked to see no further action for the shoulder charge on Batchelor as he was going to score, or the one that has now left Bentley out for the foreseeable, potentially ending his Saints career, depending on how bad it is. We've seen the likes of James Roby get bans for that, for the crush to tackle, and they're so inconsistent, the MRP, aren't they?
I think that's the issue. And listen, let's take this away from just Saints. I think fans of every single club will say exactly the same. Even you can look at it with your club-centric glasses on. I bet Kevin Worrell, the Warrington fan, will say exactly the same. I bet our mates who are Wigan fans, Leeds fans, will just say it's just inconsistent across the board. And it's a shame, really, because, and we're not saying here that as Saints did, you're not going out to get someone banned. You just want to see the consistency. So if there's one that's not given and there's no ban from it, then let's see that kind of carried on throughout the weeks. And let's see that we're getting a blanket coverage of the right length of bans. Because you see stuff like where even go on field rather than MRP as well, where you see people simbing for pulling shirts. There's not even a punch thrown and people are getting sent off. I think it's one of the ways that rugby league shoots itself in the foot, that sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing.
Is there an argument for if the referee doesn't send off or put on report on the field, that it should be down to individual teams to cite opposition players where they feel have been wronged, rather than somebody sitting in a room on a Monday morning watching every game to the minute detail to try and find something wrong? Because it feels like
Possibly,
when you look
yeah.
at the disciplinary stuff, there's 10 or 12 instances a game on report. Now, when you've been to a game, probably 11 out of the 12 you've not actually even seen, or the teams haven't complained about, but yet they're getting pulled up on a Monday morning on the disciplinary report.
Yeah, I don't like a game being re-refed of a Monday or a Sunday or whenever they start looking at it. I don't like that. I'm sure other people don't. Yeah, maybe some kind of sighting has got to go in. And that's where you do get the Saints have cited Sam Cassiano for that, and they decide they're not going to. Well, they wouldn't, because he'd been sin-bin, so that'd get looked at. But they might turn around and say, well, there was a challenge there that we're not happy with, and we want you to have another look at it. Yes, you're probably going to have to look through for stuff that the refs missed. You can't just turn around and ignore stuff that hasn't been penalised through the game. But I don't get why we're going at it with minute detail. And when we've got players like the Sione Matautia one that made him miss Wembley, you kind of don't see much in that. And you think, how's that got a game ban?
I think,
especially when you.
I think the Wakefield chairman said it, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of don't see it and you should never just judge it on injury. But when you've got the likes of James Bentley now probably ending his Saints career, who knows how that'll affect him, even going into pre-season and then missing a round or two for Leeds even. It shouldn't just be judged on injury, but if there is an injury from it, you've got to look, well, something's gone wrong there in that tackle, and that tackling technique needs to be better. Listen, I don't think we're going to change anything, are we? We're not going to change anything quickly with it, unfortunately. I think a load of new panel members have been appointed recently, so hopefully they can bring a little bit of balance and a little bit of sense to the group.
That said, 20-man squad this week. Is it a case of the top three names, Eves, Norman, Davis, missing out, or does Dan Norman finally get a chance? I think Dan Norman deserves. I'd say he does deserve a spot and an opportunity based on the form of a couple of our forwards who for me, haven't been doing it. I just don't think at this time in the year that it will happen, though.
It depends, because Joel Thompson's missed a couple. I know he keeps getting named, but he's missed a couple. So it's whether he is fit enough to come back in. I'd like kind of written down my three who I think will miss out. And to be fair, it is the top three numbers. But then you think, well, it depends. If Thompson misses out, then you might turn around. Well, it will be Norman, you'd imagine, who would get the game time. The thing is, he's not played. He's been on loan at Salford, so he has had minutes up there in a team who aren't at the right end of the table and have had to battle for wins. So he has had minutes. He has had Super League minutes, which is good. One thing that I want to see on Friday is James Roby starting on the bench. I don't necessarily want to see James Roby doing 80 minutes. I don't see the point of it. He's gone off with a knock. Let's try and keep him protected. If we need him, or if the plan is you come on after half an hour, do 10 minutes or 20 minutes after half time, and then you're back off again and it's Smith, then fine, okay.
Or if you build a healthy lead, just stick him on for the last 2 minutes just to get that appearance under his belt. Just to
get that appearance up on the board. But yeah, it's if we need him, then you bring him on. I do think without Louis and without Parsi, our forward line really needs to rip in. And listen, we've been doing that in recent weeks. We have been doing that in recent weeks. But our forward line needs to bring something against Leeds, because they are two big misses, whether you like them or not. Whether you think that Parsi could run harder, if you think that Louis, what was it, a penalty machine that you once called him on the radio? I got told off by his wife.
Louis, our mate, he's been on since. You leave Louis alone. You stop bringing his past up, Kevin.
Your past, I'm bringing.
Louis is a legend.
He is a legend,
and he's well worthy of that extra year on his contract.
You don't do so long in a team and win things and in the top 4 or 5 every season if you're not a good player. But that's it. With them missing, Parsi brings an offload game. Louis brings pace for a prop forward. So we've got to make sure that whoever's taking the places at prop, which could well be Batchelor's done time in the middle, Wingfields could do time in the middle. Listen, they've got to bring their A game because you want to get this second place sewn up.
Yeah,
on Friday.
You don't want to leave it to chance at Salford, do you?
No.
It could be a cold night. It could be a cold night at Salford next week, and you don't want to risk anything going wrong. Get the win sorted, and then you can decide what you want to do with your squad next week. And with a week off to follow anyway, you may well just play your best team.
Yeah, you may well do, or you may well turn around to Alex Walmsley, James Roby, the likes of them, and you turn around and go, have a week off. Don't need you. Go and put your feet up. You can have 2 weeks off now. Then we're into the playoffs. Come back. You're going to be training like warriors. Probably the wrong word to use with that being Wigan. But you're going to be training like properly up to the level, but you're not playing. You're not going to go through the rigours of playing.
Leeds squad, they've got quite a number of absentees as well, haven't they, Kev?
Yeah.
They're sponsored by Anchor this week in partnership with Anchor, their squad. Let's hope their hearts are sinking. Saints racing to an early lead.
Well, yeah, that's it. Listen, they've still got some good players. We look at the cup game, was it earlier in the season when Cruz Lehman and Brad Dwyer were just lively all the way through. Brad Dwyer is that type of player who's just lively all the way through. They've still got some good players. Matt Pryor is one of the form props, or has been one of the form props anyway. And they have been able to kind of bring some, or they've had to bring some youngsters through because they have been missing players. If we switch off like we did last week for a long period of time, this will be too tight, and they will stay in it. They will have a game plan and they will stay in it.
I think last week's proven to us that anything can happen in rugby league. Yeah. So even if Leeds do open the scoring with an early consolation try, I think we need to be on our guard.
Don't tweet that this week though.
Leeds missing King Vuniyayawa, who was injured at Newcastle. Also Liam Sutcliffe, Conrad Harrell, Luke Gale, Zane Tetavano, Jack Walker, Mikolai Oledzki, Callum McClellan, Rob Louis and Alex Mellor. That is a fair amount of players to be missing. So they're doing it tough late in the year. But I think, is it 4 wins out of the last 5 for Leeds? They're going to come in with some confidence and they're building for the playoffs as well.
That's it. Listen, they might be missing quite a few, but it's giving these lads game time. And it means that when it comes to it and they start possibly getting these players back, they've got players already in the shirts who've got good minutes. So if they need to come back in, they can do the dropping them in, unlike us who were talking about Jake Winfield, who's not had many minutes recently, talking about possibly Dan Norman playing. Josh Eves getting called up. I know he's been at Leeds, but he's not been playing for us. Ben Davies still in our 20-man squad. We've stuck with this and been able, luckily, to stick with a lot of the same core players. So it does stand them in good stead, not only for now, but potentially for next season as well.
Yeah, I think when you obviously look at that squad, 12 of the squad numbers are outside of the initial 17 squad numbers. So it just shows the depth that they've had to use this season. Just to finish off then, Kev, predictions.
Saints by 14.
We'll go Saints by 12.
It's not very often that I'm the one who gives the biggest score there, is it?
Yeah. Maybe my confidence has been knocked.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'll stick to football.
Yeah, I would. Surprised you didn't suggest it could be 3-1 or something like that.
Right, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And Kev will be joining me here at the Totally Wicked Stadium on Friday night for the instant fan reaction. Don't know about that Scots fella though. I think
no, well, it depends what the M65 is like on my way down from Burnley.
Shh. Peter, stick to football. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you Friday night.